It always starts with the sound of his shoes on the hallway floor. There's something about the way Chad walks when he's coming home, not the brisk, commanding stride he wears out in the world, but something slower, deliberate, almost careful, like he doesn't want to track anything heavy from out there into here. I've never asked him if he does it on purpose. I don't have to. I already know. He pauses just outside the door. I feel it more than I hear it. A shift in the air, like the space is waiting to exhale. Then, the lock turns, smooth and soft. My hand is already around the handle of my mug. I always pour the second cup when I hear his steps. It's a quiet ritual now, not one we talked about, just one we both seem to need. The front door opens with a gentle creak. I glance over my shoulder, and there he is, Chad Stafford, 6'4", and wrapped in a navy wool coat that somehow doesn't make him look any bigger than he already is. His eyes find mine immediately. Everything else on him relaxes. He doesn't smile yet. That comes later. For now, he closes the door behind him with both palms flat. No slamming, no urgency, just presence. "Hey," I say, softly. His voice is a shade lower when he answers. "Hi, baby." He leans down to untie his shoes. The coat comes next, sliding from his shoulders in one smooth motion. He hangs it carefully on the brass hook beside the bench. His black leather shoes, handmade, polished to a quiet shine, go beneath the bench in their usual spot. I watch the transformation in silence. Outside, he is someone, something. I've never asked the full extent of it. He's told me what matters, which is this: he never brings it inside. That's the line, and he never crosses it. Inside this house, he's just my husband, and I'm just the woman who keeps the teapot warm until he's home. Chad crosses the room and bends to kiss my forehead. The scent of his cologne, amber and cedar, something expensive and subtle, wraps around me. "You're early," I murmur, tilting my face toward him. He nods, still not smiling. "Told Carlo to finish without me. I needed to be home." There's no weight in his voice, but there is something else. A kind of fatigue that doesn't come from the body. I pass him his cup of tea. Chamomile, lightly sweet. He takes it with both hands like it's something sacred. We don't talk much for the next few minutes. We just sit there, me at the end of the sofa with my feet tucked under me, and Chad beside me, angled just slightly so he can see my face. His mug rests against his palm as if it belongs there. I love the first hour after he comes home. The transition, the wordless way we let the outside dissolve. After a while, I glance at the clock. "Did you eat?" He shakes his head. "Just once. Didn't feel like staying." I brush my fingers against the side of his knee. "There's soup in the pot. I can warm it." Chad sets down his cup. "Only if you eat with me." "I already." He raises one eyebrow in that familiar way, playful but calm. I smile. "Okay, I'll eat again." He stands first, offering his hand. I don't need the help, but I take it anyway. His fingers are warm, and the way he looks at me, steady, low-lidded, a little soft around the edges, it makes me forget the hours that passed before this one. In the kitchen, he leans against the counter while I stir the soup. Lentils, carrots, thyme. It's not fancy, but it's warm. He likes food that feels made, not prepared. "I heard from Alice today," I say, glancing back at him. "Yeah?" His voice rumbles softly in the small space. "She and Marcus bought that cottage upstate, the one with the lilac hedge. That's good. She always wanted something smaller." I nod. The soup simmers quietly, and I saw the neighbor's cat again. I add, "The orange one." He sat on the porch for 15 minutes just staring at the wind chimes. Chad smiles now, just slightly, but enough for his face to shift. Did he judge them? Openly. He chuckles under his breath. We carry our bowls to the table and sit side by side, not across from each other. Chad always turns his chair a little toward mine. He eats slowly, methodically, as if tasting something for the first time. Every now and then, he glances up, not in conversation, but just to check that I'm still here. He does that sometimes, like he has to see me to feel the day letting go. "I like this," he says after a while, tapping his spoon gently against the side of the bowl. The soup, the quiet. I reach for his hand beneath the table. "Me too." We finish eating, rinse our dishes, and put everything away in easy rhythm. No rush, no lingering tension, just presence again. That's the thing about Chad. He doesn't fill the space, he inhabits it. When we return to the living room, he slips off his watch, the heavy one with the steel band, and places it on the ceramic tray by the window. I don't know where he got it or how much it cost. I only know that when he puts it there, the rest of the world doesn't ask for him anymore. He turns to me. Fully. You're quiet tonight. I blink, surprised. I didn't think I was. You are. Not in a bad way. I tilt my head. Just settled, maybe. His eyes soften. Good. Chad doesn't ask for more than that. He never pushes. I think that's why I talk to him more than anyone else. Because I never feel like I have to. He holds out his arm, and I walk into it without a word. His embrace is slow and warm and sure. He kisses the top of my head. Just once. It lands right over the crown, the way he always does when he means, I'm home now. You can rest. We stay like that for a while, standing, breathing, the kind of silence that doesn't need to be broken. And when he finally exhales fully, deeply, I feel it in my bones. The dawn has left the room. Only Chad remains. There's something about the sound of a metal watch being placed on ceramic. It's soft, barely there, but it always settles something inside me. Chad's is heavy, even though he wears it like he doesn't notice the weight. I notice. I always have. It's the last thing he takes off, always. Shoes first, then coat, then jacket. The cufflinks are second to last. But the watch is a line. Once he sets it on the small white tray by the kitchen window, the rest of the world doesn't get to follow. He doesn't say anything as he does it tonight, but I watch him from across the room, seated at our kitchen table with my hands wrapped around a cup of tea gone mostly cold. His sleeves are already rolled up to his forearms. Forearms I once jokingly called dangerously elegant, and now I just think of as home. Chad sets the watch down carefully, face up, band curled slightly inward. He does it the same way every time, like it matters, like he wants to make sure that time knows where it stops. When he turns toward me, there's something softer in his eyes, a near invisible loosening, like a shirt collar being undone. Still drinking that? He asks, nodding toward my cup. It's gone lukewarm, I admit. He crosses the kitchen in 3 slow steps and holds out a hand. Let me warm it. I can. His look says I want to. I give him the mug. He moves through our kitchen like he built it himself, and in a way he did. Not with tools, but with decisions. The deep gray cabinets, the brass handles, the marble counter he said I'd use more than he ever would. Every part of this home was a decision he made with me in mind. He sets the mug in the microwave and taps twice at the button panel. As it hums to life, he leans back against the counter, arms crossed. Quiet day? He asks. I nod. I sorted the books in the study. You have 5 copies of The Old Man and the Sea. He chuckles. 4 too many. One is annotated. It's full of pencil marks and page folds. I think it's the one you actually read. I read them all, he says, though I know he means once, a long time ago. Then you've thought a lot about fishing, I tease. He shrugs, smiling faintly. I've thought a lot about quiet men and the weight they carry. I blink. That's more honest than I expected, even from him. But I don't press. I just let the words hang in the warm air between us. The microwave beeps. Chad hands me the cup with 2 hands, like it's something more than a drink. His thumbs brush my fingers for a second too long. I feel it, and I know he does too. I raise the tea to my lips. Thank you. He nods and pulls out a chair beside me. We sit in easy silence. The windows are fogged just slightly from the soup earlier, and the glow from the overhead light softens the room into a watercolor. He watches the steam rise from my tea like it's telling a story. I watch him. You're still thinking, I say quietly. Chad doesn't look away. I always am, I know, but it's different when you're here. He shifts his body toward me, one elbow resting on the back of the chair. Different how? Less guarded. You don't speak, but I still hear you. His jaw flexes once, the way it does when he's feeling something he doesn't want to name. Not because he's avoiding it, but because he knows it would dissolve if he said too much. Today was heavy, he admits, voice low. I don't ask why. I never do. It's part of the trust between us. He'll share what's safe to bring inside. The rest stays out. In that unnamed world, he keeps at bay. Instead, I ask, do you want to talk about something else? He leans closer. Like what? Like, if you could live anywhere else in the world, where would it be? A soft smile tugs at the corner of his mouth. Here. No, really. I am. I roll my eyes gently. You don't get to charm your way out of the question. Chad runs a hand through his hair, still slightly damp at the ends from the rain earlier, and gives it real thought. I love that about him. He doesn't brush off small things. He gives them the same weight as large ones, if I ask. Maybe a small place near the coast, he says. Somewhere the wind smells like salt and pine. Would we have a garden? We'd have two. Two. One for flowers, one for food. I grin. And what would you grow? He lifts a brow. Tomatoes, basil, the things you like best. I look down at my mug to hide the way my heart swells. This man, this quiet, thoughtful man who once made a world bend to his will, and now offers me tomatoes in a garden that doesn't yet exist. Do you ever think about that? I ask. A future that doesn't involve all this? Chad's gaze softens. I think about it more than I ever used to. A silence settles between us. Not heavy, not sharp, just full, like the pause before a violin string is touched. I reach across the table and place my hand over his. He flips his palm to meet mine, his thumb stroking a slow line across the back of my fingers. There's no urgency, no need to rush into deeper conversation. The connection is already there, steady and warm. Eventually, I say, I like your hands better without the cufflinks. He looks down at them. Why? They move slower, like they belong to a man who isn't being watched. His throat moves with a swallow. They do, and that's all he says. I let the silence stretch again, comforted by it. It's one of the ways I know we're okay when nothing needs to be said to feel close. After a while, he glances at the small clock near the window. Want to go for a walk? I blink. Outside? No. Just around the house. With me. I laugh softly, but stand. Lead the way, mister. Stafford. He takes my hand and we walk through the hall, then down to the study, and back again, like two people who haven't lived here for 5 years, as if the furniture is new, and the floors need rediscovering. He stops in the hallway and turns to me. I don't like leaving that watch on the tray. I blink, surprised. You don't? No, not because I need it, because I wish I didn't need the reminder. I tilt my head. Reminder of what? He reaches up, brushing a strand of hair behind my ear. That I have to become someone else the moment I walk out that door. My heart aches quietly for him, for the man he has to be, and the one he chooses to be here. You don't leave all of yourself out there, I say. I wouldn't love you if you did. He looks at me like I've given him something important, and maybe I have. We end the walk back in the kitchen. The watch sits quietly in its tray, catching the soft light from the lamp. He takes a slow breath, looks at it, then at me. Come to bed soon, he asks. I'll meet you there. He presses a kiss to my temple. Don't take too long. And just like that, he disappears down the hall, his steps bare and quiet. I stay behind for a moment, fingers still warm from his. Then I glance at the tray and smile. It's only a watch, but I know what it means when it's there. There's something grounding about soup. It doesn't demand anything from you. It just waits, warm, simple, kind. You don't rush soup. You let it breathe. And maybe that's why Chad always asks for it on the nights when the rest of the world has taken too much from him. I made it earlier today, before I knew what kind of mood he'd come home in. Lentils and carrots, a bit of garlic, thyme from the windowsill pot. No recipe, just memory. I've made it so often. I could do it in silence with my eyes closed. Now it's past 8, and the kitchen is dim except for the warm overhead light and the little candle I lit on the counter, a habit I've developed lately. Something about the flicker soothes me. I stir the soup on low heat as Chad opens the cabinet and reaches for 2 bowls. His sleeves are still rolled, and the edges of his shirt are slightly rumpled. He rarely looks uncomposed, but tonight there's a comfort in it. He's not performing. He's just here. You always use the green bowls when you make soup, he says, setting them on the counter near me. I smile without looking up. They hold heat better. He leans against the counter beside me. Or you just like the color. I glance at him. That too. There's something about cooking in silence with someone you love. No small talk. No performance. Just presence. Chad doesn't pretend to be a chef. He doesn't hover or offer advice. He simply exists beside me, occasionally brushing against my arm or nudging my hip with his when we pass each other in the small space. I ladle the soup carefully, filling each bowl about 3/4 full. Bread? I ask. He's already reaching for the sourdough I baked this morning. Warmed or fresh? Fresh is perfect. He slices 2 thick pieces and sets them on a small plate between us. One of them gets a bit crooked. I don't fix it. We carry everything to the table without fanfare. It's an old oak table, slightly scratched from years of use, I love the way it creaks when we lean on it, like it's part of the conversation. Chad sits beside me again, never across. I think he likes to feel my presence next to his elbow. I know I do. We begin to eat. It's not a loud meal, just the occasional soft scrape of a spoon, or the muffled crunch of bread. "This is good," he says after a few bites. "Did you change something?" I shake my head. "No, same as always." He nods, quiet for a moment. "Maybe it's me then. Maybe you needed it more tonight." He doesn't answer, but I see the corner of his mouth pull into something that's not quite a smile. A thought, maybe. A memory. A soft exhale of whatever burden he left at the door. I take a sip from my water glass. "Did you used to eat like this when you were younger?" "Like what?" "Simple meals. Home cooking." He takes a moment before answering. "Sometimes. My grandmother made soup like this in the winters, when things were quieter." I glance at him. "You never talk much about your grandmother." "She was good," he says. "Not soft, but good. She didn't like to waste words. Maybe that's where you get it from." He looks at me, and there's a flicker of something behind his eyes. Warmth. Or maybe understanding. Maybe. We keep eating. The candle flickers against the ceramic bowls, and the quiet feels sacred. Outside, a breeze picks up. The trees rustle gently against the windows, like a lullaby only the house can hear. "Do you ever miss it?" I ask suddenly. Chad lifts his gaze. "Miss what?" "The noise, the pressure, whatever it is you leave behind when you come home." He sets his spoon down carefully. "Not intention, but thought." "No," he says softly. "I don't miss it. I carry it, but I don't crave it." I look at him, really look at him. The strong line of his jaw, the steady curve of his mouth, the way he's learned to sit still when most men would pace. He's never told me exactly what his days look like, and I've never needed to know. What matters is that he doesn't bring the chaos here, and that when he's home, he chooses slowness. He chooses soup. We eat in silence for a while. Then, out of nowhere, he says, "You were humming earlier. When I came in." I blink. "Was I?" He nods. Something soft. I didn't recognize it. I think back. Might have been the melody from that Italian lullaby, the one in the movie we watched last week. Chad tilts his head slightly. "You hum when you feel safe." "I do?" "You do," he confirms. "You always have. You don't even know you're doing it." There's something tender in the way he says it. Not observing me like a puzzle to be solved, but like a rhythm he's memorized just by loving me. "That's sweet," I say softly. It's true. I finish the last bite of my soup, and he does the same. He picks up my bowl without asking and carries it to the sink. I follow with the rest, and together we rinse the dishes, side by side. There's a peacefulness to the ritual. Soup, bread, quiet conversation, cleanup, like a sacred loop that tells our bodies we are safe again tonight. I dry the last bowl and turn toward him. "Do you want dessert?" He quirks an eyebrow. "Did you make something?" "I might have made lemon cookies." He exhales slowly. "How did I get so lucky?" I nudge him lightly, by not asking too many questions. He grins and pulls open the cookie tin. The scent of lemon and sugar fills the room like a memory. We each take one and lean against the counter, eating in silence again. This time, the silence is sweeter. "Do you know what I think?" he says after a minute. "What?" "I think people spend their lives chasing meaning in the big things, titles, money, whatever shows." I wait, watching the way he studies the cookie in his hand. "But the older I get," he continues, "the more I think it's this, you. Soup, a quiet night." Something in my chest softens. "I'm glad you think that." He turns his head toward me. "You're what makes it feel like that." I don't answer right away. I just reach for his hand again, and he laces our fingers together. His hand is warm, his grip gentle. He's always strong enough to crush but never holds like he could. Outside, the wind has quieted. The candle's flame burns low, steady and small. I press my shoulder lightly against his arm. "We should do this again tomorrow." "We will," he says, "and the next night, and the next." And I believe him, because the soup isn't just soup, it's a promise. There's a way Chad looks at me when he thinks I'm not paying attention. It's not a stare, and it's not distracted, either. It's more like he's memorizing something he already knows by heart, like he's reminding himself that I'm here. Still real, still his. He never interrupts. Not when I'm humming to myself, or watering the plants, or folding towels with that lopsided corner I always forget to smooth out. He just watches, quiet and still, like witnessing me in peace is its own kind of rest. I saw it again this morning, from the corner of my eye, as I tended to the violets on the kitchen windowsill. He'd just come down from his shower, the collar of his shirt slightly open, sleeves pushed up like he couldn't quite finish dressing if I wasn't beside him yet. I didn't turn to look. I didn't need to. His gaze settled across my back like a warm palm. I felt it. I always do. And now, hours later, we're curled up on the couch like we do most evenings. The dishes are done. The house is still. The rain has started again outside. A light tapping that's more lullaby than storm. I sit with my knees tucked under me, a blanket around my legs. Chad is beside me, angled just enough that he can watch my face. I pretend I don't notice, but I do. He thinks quietly for a while. I sip my tea and lean my head back against the cushion. I expect him to speak first. He usually does, but tonight I beat him to it. You always look at me like you're trying to read something, I say. His brow lifts slightly, not in surprise but in curiosity. Do I? Mm-hmm. He shifts his weight, resting his arm along the back of the couch. Maybe I am. I glance at him. What are you reading? A pause. Then, gently, peace, familiarity. You. My heart stirs, soft and full. He doesn't say it in a way that demands a response. He just offers it, like you would a favorite quote or a song lyric that made you think of someone. He doesn't give compliments often, but when he does, they feel lived in, worn soft by time. You make me feel seen, I whisper. Chad's gaze doesn't waver. That's because I see you. It's so simple, so obvious, but no one's ever said it quite like that before, like it's a fact, not a gesture. He lifts one hand and tucks a piece of hair behind my ear, then lets his palm linger against my cheek. His thumb brushes lightly just beneath my eye. You looked peaceful this morning, he says, with your hands in the dirt. I smile. They're indoor pots. He shrugs, half playful. Still counts. I rest my hand on top of his, anchoring it there. I like when you notice things like that. I notice everything. I know, but I like when you tell me. He doesn't answer. Just tilts his head slightly, like he's looking at me from a new angle. There's no hunger in his expression, no need to pull me closer or escalate the moment. It's just him and me, in this soft pocket of time. Seen and seeing, I think, I say slowly. You were probably always this gentle. Even before all of this, he considers. I don't know if I was. Not exactly. I lean into his shoulder, letting my voice drop. Maybe you didn't have the space to show it. His hand moves from my cheek to the side of my neck, then down to rest gently against my collarbone, a grounding touch. His thumb brushes against the fabric of my sweater. Maybe, he says. But with you, I don't have to hold anything back. I close my eyes for a moment, breathing that in. The trust in it, the steadiness. There's something intimate about being seen without being needed. He never watches me because he wants something. He watches because he wants me, my presence, my quiet thoughts, the way I fold socks without matching them properly. All of it. I used to think love was loud, I admit. Big gestures, running through airports, all that. Chad chuckles softly, his thumb still brushing my collarbone. I could run through an airport. I laugh against his chest. Please don't. He presses a kiss to the top of my head. I think you've always known love was quiet. You just hadn't met someone who gave it to you that way. That's what it feels like with him. Not a thunderstorm, not fireworks, just warmth that stays, a flame that never flickers, even when the day is long. We sit like that for a while. No music, no show playing in the background, just the sound of the rain and our shared breathing. Eventually, I shift slightly, tucking my legs across his lap. He adjusts without a word, one arm settling behind me, the other hand resting on my shin. His touch is always so aware, never assuming, never claiming, just present. You know what I love? I say softly. He hums. Tell me. The way you always sit beside me, instead of across. He smiles, brushing a hand down the curve of my calf. I like to be near you. I know, but it's the kind of near that doesn't ask for anything. His voice is lower now. You already give me everything I want, Nina, just by being you. I rest my head against his chest, feeling the steady thrum of his heart beneath my ear. I used to wonder, I murmur, if I'd ever meet someone who could love me in stillness. Chad doesn't hesitate, and now, I don't wonder anymore. His chest rises under me, then falls with a long, contented breath. Outside, the rain picks up just a little, pattering against the windows like a lullaby. The house holds us in its quiet rhythm. I don't need the fireplace lit. I don't need background music or candlelight or anything else. I have him. I have the way he sees me when I'm doing nothing special, and the way he wants to be close without needing to pull, and I have this look, the one he gives me when he thinks I'm not watching, like I'm something soft he never thought he'd get to keep. There's something about the way he exhales when I lay my head on his shoulder. Not a sigh of exhaustion, not defeat. It's something else, like the quiet release of a man who's been holding everything in place all day. And finally, doesn't have to anymore. We're back on the couch where the tea has cooled, and the candle has nearly burned down to the base. The dishes are washed, the lights are low. There's no music, no television. Just us, side by side, with my legs stretched across his lap and his hand resting lightly over my shin. The blanket is bunched around our hips, and his chest rises slow beneath my cheek. I can hear his heart, steady, slow, a metronome I've come to trust more than the ticking clock in the hallway. His fingers trace lazy lines along the outside of my calf, barely there, more a suggestion of touch than actual contact. He always does this when he's thinking. It grounds him. Or maybe it grounds me. What's on your mind? I ask softly. He pauses, but only for a moment. My father. I don't move. Don't flinch or sit up or press for more. Instead, I press my palm gently over his chest, right where his breath lives. He used to smoke cigars on the back porch, Chad says after a while, late at night. Thought no one could smell it from inside, but I could. I wait. He'd sit out there in the dark and think, for hours sometimes, never told anyone what about, but I could feel it, even as a kid. That heaviness, like he was holding up something bigger than himself, and didn't know how to put it down. I shift just enough to look at him. His jaw is relaxed, his gaze unfocused, like he's watching a memory unfold just beyond the room. I always wondered, he continues, what it cost him to carry everything like that. All the silence, all the pride, all the weight. I nod slowly, and now you wonder if you're carrying it too. He finally turns to meet my eyes. I don't want to be him, Nina. You're not. You say that like it's simple. Because here it is. He looks away, but only for a moment. Sometimes I feel it, you know? That tension, like I'm supposed to keep everything balanced, no matter what. Not for control, just so nothing breaks. You're allowed to set it down. He raises one brow. For how long? As long as you're here. I reach for his hand, and lace our fingers together. His palm is warm, his grip steady. I squeeze, just once, and his shoulders lower a fraction, almost invisible, but I see it, feel it. You're not holding anything up right now. I whisper, not in this room, not with me. His voice is quieter now. That's what I mean. About what? The weight. I don't carry it here. I settle back against him, letting the silence stretch. He doesn't need fixing. He doesn't need advice. He just needs this, a soft place to land, and someone who doesn't expect him to explain himself before he's ready. Sometimes, he says, I think about what kind of father I'd be. The shift in my chest is immediate, but not anxious, just tender. What kind do you want to be? I ask gently. He's quiet for a beat, the kind who remembers to listen. I run my fingers over the back of his hand, slow and rhythmic. You'd be good at that. You think so? I know so. His thumb strokes across mine in answer. The couch creaks softly beneath us. The candle flickers low. The room feels full, not of noise, but of memory, of hope, of things gently unfolding without pressure. I don't need to be understood everywhere, he says after a while, but I need to be understood here. You are. He leans down and presses his forehead to mine. It's not dramatic or heavy. It's quiet, a resting place. I close my eyes. In the world outside, Chad Stafford is many things. A man of presence, a man of power, someone who never appears unsure, never hesitates in front of others, never admits aloud that the burden gets heavy. But here, he doesn't have to be any of that. Here he can lay his head back against the cushion and remember the sound of his own breath. Here he can speak about his father without fear of judgment. Here he can talk about the kind of man he wants to be, not the one he was expected to become. I lift my hand to the side of his face, letting my fingers trace the line of his jaw. You're already different, I whisper, and I'm so proud of you. He closes his eyes at that, just for a second, like it lands somewhere deep inside him, like it fills in a space that was waiting quietly all this time. Thank you, he says. For what? For not expecting me to be anything more than who I am with you. I rest my head back on his chest, pulling the blanket higher. You don't have to earn softness, Chad, I murmur. You're allowed to come home and be held, too. His hand slides into my hair, fingers threading slowly through the strands. You make it easy. That's the point. And it is. That's what love is here. Not a test, not a reward. Just a room where nothing heavy needs to be carried alone. He exhales again, longer this time. A release. We stay like that until the candle burns out and the quiet deepens. Not into silence, but into something better. Peace. There's a kind of rhythm to folding laundry with someone. The weight of fabric passed from one pair of hands to another. The way cotton holds warmth when it's fresh from the dryer. The sound of clothes being smoothed and stacked in gentle piles. No need for music or conversation. The hum of ordinary life is its own kind of comfort. I used to do the laundry alone, not because Chad wouldn't help, he offered, many times, but because I liked the silence of it, the stillness. But lately he's started showing up when he hears the dryer chime. No announcement, no asking, just quiet steps down the hall, and a familiar presence beside me. Tonight he arrives with 2 mugs of mint tea, steam curling upward in soft spirals. His sleeves are already rolled, the kind of detail that makes me smile in secret. Smells warm in here, he says, handing me a mug. Laundry warmth, I reply. Best kind. He sits on the bed and I join him. The basket between us is full. Sheets, towels, t-shirts, his undershirts folded once already from the line and waiting to be tucked into the right drawer. I take a towel and begin smoothing it over my lap. Chad watches for a moment, then picks up one of the pillowcases and begins folding it with the same quiet precision he uses for everything. Slow, intentional, gentle. You fold like someone taught you properly, I say. He doesn't look up. My grandmother. She said if you do something with your hands, do it like it matters. She sounds like she would have intimidated me. He chuckles. She would have loved you. She only intimidated people who weren't honest. I raise an eyebrow. Are you saying I'm honest? He glances at me with that look, steady, knowing. To your core. I feel myself soften a little more, even though I didn't think there was room left to melt tonight. The sheets are next, warm and wrinkled in the way I secretly love, because they smell like our home and not a store shelf. I spread one across the bed, and Chad joins in, taking the other side. We fold in silence, stepping toward each other with each crease. By the time the last corner meets, we're close enough to touch. He smiles slightly, not letting go just yet. You take folding seriously. I tease. I take anything with you seriously. I bump his hip with mine. Even socks? Especially socks. I laugh and turn back to the basket. He follows. We each take a stack. His t-shirts, my sweaters, one of his old hoodies that somehow migrated to my side of the closet and stayed there. You know, I say, holding up the hoodie, this is technically mine now. He looks over, eyes amused. Possession is 9/10 of the law. I raise both eyebrows. That's rich coming from a man who owns half the city. Not this room, he says, low and certain. This room's yours. My heart stutters. He doesn't say it to impress. He says it like it's always been true, like it's the one territory he has no interest in claiming because it's already been given. I press the hoodie to my chest for a moment, breathing in the quiet weight of his words. Then I fold it gently and place it on the stack by my knee. We keep working, and the basket slowly empties. At one point I pause, holding up a sock with no pair. You know, I think the dryer eats these. He smiles. I think they run away. From what? Responsibility. I blink, then burst out laughing. You think socks have emotional maturity issues? He shrugs. Would explain why they disappear without warning and never come back. I'm laughing too hard to fold anything for a minute. He watches me, openly, a quiet smile tugging at the corners of his mouth, like he's memorizing the sound of my happiness. When I finally calm, I toss the lonely sock at his chest. He catches it easily, then tucks it into the edge of his folded pile like it belongs there. Now it has a home, he says. Still doesn't have a mate. He looks at me with a glint of something playful in his eyes. Some things don't need to match to be part of something good. I go quiet at that, because there's something in it, something unspoken, deeper than socks or laundry. He's talking about us, the way we come from such different places, yet somehow landed in the same quiet evening, folding towels together like we were always meant to. I reach for his hand without thinking. He lets me take it, our fingers lacing slowly, the way we've done 1,000 times now. You okay? He asks softly. I nod. More than okay. He brushes his thumb across my knuckles. You go somewhere for a second. I was just thinking, how peaceful this is, folding laundry with you, laughing about socks, feeling like the day is behind us. He looks around the room, then back at me. I think this is what I've always wanted, even when I didn't know it existed. My throat catches. This, he repeats. You. A soft evening. No noise. Just presence. The room feels still again, but not heavy, not silent in the uncomfortable way. Just full with light, with peace, with breath. We finish the last of the basket and carry our stacks to the dresser. I open the drawer on my side, and he does the same on his. There's something so quietly intimate about putting away clothes with the person you love, like declaring, yes, we live here. Yes, we stay. As I tuck the folded sweater into place, I feel him step behind me, not to start anything, not to ask for anything, just to be close. He wraps his arms around my waist from behind and rests his chin on my shoulder. I like our life, he murmurs. I smile. Me too. He kisses my shoulder through the fabric of my shirt. Even laundry? Especially laundry. He chuckles, breath warm against my skin. We stay like that for a long moment, just breathing together. The closet door is slightly ajar, the lamp on the dresser casting a soft glow. The world feels far away, and the night is quiet. Eventually, he straightens. Tea refill? I nod, then turn to him with a small smile. And maybe one more lemon cookie? He grins. Thought you'd never ask. We leave the room together, his hand resting at the small of my back. The laundry's done. The night is still ours. And somewhere in the corner of the basket, that single unmatched sock remains, tucked between folds, content to belong anyway. The bedroom light is soft tonight. I dimmed it just a little after we brushed our teeth, enough to let the shadows stretch along the walls, but not so much that it feels like the day is over too quickly. I like this part of the evening, the in-between, the hush before sleep, when neither of us has to be anything except here. The bed is already turned down, the duvet folded back, 2 pillows fluffed, one lower than the other. Chad likes the firm one. He always says mine smells like lavender and dreams. I pad across the room in my bare feet, already in my favorite sleep shirt, the hem brushing the middle of my thighs. The air is cooler now. I reach for my robe, but before I can, I see it's already been laid across the foot of the bed, folded neatly, the sleeves tucked in. My hand pauses over it. Did you? Chad appears in the doorway, rubbing a towel through his hair. You always get cold, he says simply. He crosses the room, setting the towel over the back of the chair near the window. He's in the soft gray shirt he only wears to bed, and drawstring lounge pants that hang just a little too low on his hips. I've told him before that he could model for a sleepwear catalog, but he just shrugged and said, only if you're the photographer. You're very thoughtful, I say now, picking up the robe and sliding it over my arms. He walks over and adjusts the collar slightly, tying the belt loose but sure around my waist. You're very worth thinking about. His hands linger at my sides for a moment. Not possessive, just steady. We don't speak as we each move through our final rhythms of the night. I smooth lotion into my hands. He checks the window latch, not because it needs checking, but because he likes to make sure I feel secure. He always asks, is it too cold? Too warm? Too bright? Too dark? Not out of worry, out of care. I lit the little candle on the nightstand, I say, motioning toward the flickering flame. It smells like chamomile. He nods, stepping closer and kisses my forehead. Perfect. I slide into bed first, pulling the covers up to my waist, then watching as he joins me a moment later. His movements are slow, intentional, like he's still shedding the last of the day. When he settles beside me, we both exhale at the same time. He lies on his back, one hand resting on his chest. I lie on my side, facing him, elbow tucked beneath my pillow. I study the lines of his face, the high cheekbones, the relaxed brow, the mouth that looks more at ease at night than it does during the day. He's still carrying something, I can tell, but it's quiet now. Contained. Are you tired? I ask. A little. Long day? Long week. I nod, not asking for details. Instead, I reach for his hand, lacing our fingers together between us. Do you ever wonder? I murmur, what we'll look like 20 years from now? He turns his head toward me. I think about it more than you'd expect. Tell me. He shifts onto his side so we're facing each other. His thumb brushes lightly over my knuckles as he speaks. I picture us here, still in this room, or maybe somewhere quieter, a cottage near the water, a garden out back. You in that big straw hat you wore once in Italy. I smile. That hat was ridiculous, You were luminous. My heart gives a quiet thud. He goes on, you'll still hum when you make tea. I'll still light the candles when you forget. You'll talk to the violets like they're people. I'll pretend I don't notice, but I'll be listening. I blink back something warm. That sounds lovely. It will be. I study his face for a moment, the faint stubble on his jaw, the way the lamplight softens the edge of him. Even when he's tired, he never closes off. He doesn't retreat behind silence. He steps into it with me. What about you? He asks gently. What do you picture? I pause. I picture us older. Slower, maybe. You'll finally let your hair go gray. He laughs under his breath. You think I'll fight it? I think you'll pretend not to care, but you'll notice when I say I like it. He smiles again, quieter this time, and we'll have our routines. I continue. Still folding laundry together. Still making soup. Maybe we'll argue about what to plant each spring. Tomatoes, he says firmly. Always tomatoes. I agree. He lifts our joined hands and presses a kiss to the back of mine. His lips linger there, not rushed. You're not afraid of growing older, he says. No, not with you. We lie there for a while in silence, the kind that speaks louder than words. His thumb keeps tracing little arcs over my hand, grounding me. Eventually, I scoot closer, resting my head against his shoulder. He shifts to make space, wrapping his arm around me and tucking me in without needing to ask. His body is warm, solid, familiar, the kind of presence you stop noticing only because it's always there. You know, he murmurs, voice low and rough with sleep. This room could be anywhere, as long as you're in it. I don't respond right away. I just press a small kiss to his chest, right over his heart. He draws the blanket up higher around us, adjusting it so my feet don't get cold. He always does that. Knows without asking, moves without needing to be told. Outside, the wind moves softly against the windows. The candle flickers on the nightstand, casting warm light across the sheets. I can see his watch resting on the tray by the dresser, the metal catching just a hint of glow. It's a reminder that he's not working tonight, that he chose this bed, this quiet, me. Sleep will come soon, I whisper. I'm already halfway there, he says, pulling me just a little closer. I smile against his chest. Don't let go. Never, he murmurs, and I feel it like a vow. We lie like that, steady and close, while the bedroom holds the hush of two people choosing each other again and again. The day has ended, the world has quieted, and the bedroom light is still soft, just enough to see each other by. There's a moment at night, just before sleep, just after conversation, when everything stills. Not just the house, not just the weather, but him, the man I married, the man the world knows by a name spoken with both reverence and fear. He lets go of all of it, piece by piece, as his body softens beside me. I feel the shift as clearly as I feel the rise and fall of his chest. The Don doesn't sleep here, only Chad does. He's on his back now, one hand resting over his stomach, the other brushing idly against my arm. I'm curled on my side, facing him, tucked beneath the covers with my fingers barely grazing the fabric of his shirt. His eyes are open, but heavy-lidded, not tired in the way exhaustion looks, but quiet, thoughtful, slowed. I forget how quiet it is here, he says, voice low. I hum. Do you like it? I crave it. His words fall gently between us, like warm drops in still water. I shift a little closer. The candle on the nightstand has burned down to a soft glow, just enough light to see his profile, the strong line of his nose, the mouth that rarely frowns once the sun sets. Do you ever have trouble falling asleep? I ask. Only when you're not beside me. I glance up at him. You say that like it's simple. It is. There's a long pause after that, but it doesn't feel empty. He turns his head to face me fully now, his dark eyes steady on mine. You want to know something I've never told anyone? I nod, quiet. Sometimes when I lie awake, I picture our life in pieces, ordinary pieces. A room like this one, a window open just slightly, you in that threadbare sleep shirt, the way your hair falls over your pillow. He reaches out, brushing a strand behind my ear, and I think, if all I had was that, it would be enough. My breath catches, not because I'm surprised, but because of how gently he's offering it. No grand gesture, no performance, just a man in a quiet room, admitting the thing that keeps his heart still. I think about those things too, I whisper. What do you picture? I shift onto my back for a moment, looking up at the ceiling like the images live somewhere above us. I picture Sunday mornings, I say slowly, waking up late, you already downstairs, making coffee, me trailing in, half awake, barefoot, hair a mess. He smiles. I picture us sitting at the kitchen table in silence, not because we have nothing to say, but because everything's already understood. I picture the way you stir your tea twice before you sip it. I picture your hand resting on my knee beneath the table. He turns slightly toward me again, elbow bent beneath his pillow, face impossibly close. That's what you think about at night? He murmurs. I nod. That and what? Our future. He doesn't flinch at the word, doesn't retreat or tense or fall silent. Instead, his voice drops even lower, almost reverent. Tell me what it looks like. I close my eyes. We have a little house near the coast, maybe not right on the water, but close enough to smell salt in the air. I'll build you a garden, he says, with herbs and tomatoes. He nods, and a bench in the shade. I smile, and we'll have slow dinners on the porch. You'll pretend not to be cold, but I'll bring you a sweater anyway. He laughs softly. You know me too well. I know the version of you who lives with me in quiet rooms. That's the real one. I open my eyes. He's still watching me, barely blinking, like he's afraid the moment might shift if he moves too fast. You don't have to be anything here, I whisper. I know. You don't have to fix anything, or lead, or protect, or plan. I know. You can just rest. He leans in and presses his forehead to mine, our eyes close together. The candlelight dances across the ceiling, the shadows of our breaths barely visible in the soft flicker. I never knew rest could feel like this, he admits, like trust. My hand slides up to rest over his chest, where his heart beats slow and steady beneath my palm. You're safe here. His voice is so soft I barely catch it. I believe you. We lie like that for a long time, forehead to forehead, hands finding familiar places, breath sinking, until we feel like one body moving through stillness. Eventually, I pull back just enough to see his face. His eyes are half closed now, but there's something open in them, not tired, not guarded, just honest. You look like someone who just remembered how to breathe, I say. He smiles faintly. That's what you do for me. The candle flickers one last time before dimming into its final curl of smoke. Chad reaches over and turns off the lamp without breaking the rhythm of the moment. Darkness settles gently around us, like a blanket we both agreed to share. I nestle in closer, one leg draped loosely over his. His arm curls around my waist, fingers tracing slow circles over the fabric of my sleep shirt. Neither of us speaks again for a while, and then, in the quietest voice, he says, I dreamed of you before I ever met you. I don't move. I don't even breathe too loudly, afraid I'll wake the thought before it finishes arriving. He continues, voice almost childlike in its wonder. I didn't know your face, but I knew the feeling. This calm, this stillness, the way it feels to fall asleep without armor. Tears gather behind my eyes, not from sadness, not even from joy, just the ache of being fully seen, fully chosen. I whisper, you were dreaming of home. He presses a kiss to my temple, lingering there, lips soft and still. Then I must have found it. The night grows deeper. The air cools. Our breathing slows. He's not the Don here. He's not the man who walks into boardrooms and makes the room fall silent. He's not the one people whisper about with half-truths and careful tones. Here, in this bed, in this hour, in this breath, he's just mine. And when his body finally surrenders to sleep, I follow not long after. Not because I'm tired, not because the day is over, but because I know without a shadow of doubt, the Don doesn't sleep here, but the man I love does. It's quiet in the way only night can be quiet. Not silence, exactly. There's still the soft rustle of the trees outside, the gentle tick of the old clock in the hallway, the occasional creak of the house settling, like it's breathing along with us. But this kind of quiet is different. It holds you, wraps around you like a blanket that's just the right weight. It lets you hear things you forget during the day, like the sound of his breath behind you. Chad's arm is around my waist, our bodies curled together under the duvet, legs tangled in a way that makes it hard to tell whose are whose. I'm facing the window, but I can feel him everywhere, his chest at my back, his knees at the bend of mine, his hand resting low across my stomach, thumb tracing an absent rhythm against the cotton of my sleep shirt. His breathing is slow, deep. He's not asleep yet. I know because of the way his fingers keep moving, not searching for anything, just staying in contact, reassuring himself maybe, or me, or both. I don't speak, neither does he. Some nights don't need words. I shift just slightly, and he responds without hesitation, pulling me closer, the edge of his palm pressing against my rib cage, in a gesture so familiar, so instinctive, it feels like we were made to fit this way. I wonder if he ever lies here thinking the same things I do, that it shouldn't be possible to feel this safe, that maybe the world forgot to tell us it could be like this, that the only thing more precious than love is quiet love, the kind that doesn't ask to be seen, only felt. I can't remember the last time I moved, he murmurs against the back of my neck. I smile, eyes still closed. That's because you haven't. You've been still for nearly an hour. He presses his forehead lightly to my shoulder. Feels good. I know. I reach for his hand under the blanket and slide my fingers between his, letting our palms rest against my belly. Do you ever just lie awake and listen to the quiet? I ask. He nods behind me. When I'm here, I do. When you're not, it's harder. There's always something humming, something waiting. I turn slightly in his arms so I can see his face. The room is too dark for details, but I know every curve of him by heart. I know the shape his lips take when he's almost smiling. I know how his eyes soften in low light. I know how still he gets when he doesn't want the moment to end. What about now? I ask. What's waiting? Nothing, he says. That's why I can breathe. He tightens his hold on me, not by much, just enough that I feel the weight of it, the truth in it. There's no danger here, no one watching, no one expecting anything. He breathes again. I match him. In, out, You fall asleep faster when I hold you like this, he says. I feel your heartbeat. It helps me drift. He pauses. You know mine speeds up sometimes when I'm with you. I turn more fully now, chest to chest, his arms welcoming the change without question. Why? I whisper. He brushes a knuckle down my cheek, the gentlest touch. Because I realize, he says, how close peace really is, and how much I want to protect it. I press my forehead to his. You don't have to protect me here. I know. His hand finds the curve of my hip beneath the blanket, resting there with a kind of reverence that's always made me feel more seen than touched. Chad never reaches for me in hunger. His touch is never hurried, never sharp, only steady, only calm. And it's in these moments, tangled in warmth, speaking in whispers, that I realize just how much softness can exist inside someone the world calls hard. You think the world would recognize you like this? I ask quietly. No, he says without hesitation. Do you want it to? He's silent for a moment. Then no, I don't want to be seen by the world this way. That belongs to you. My breath catches in my chest. Not in fear, in awe. You only bring softness here, I say, because this is the only place that holds it. I feel tears press against the backs of my eyes, not from sadness, but from the weight of being trusted like this, from the way he folds his strength into tenderness when we're alone, from the knowledge that no one else in the world gets this version of him. Chad? Promise me something. He leans forward and kisses my brow. Anything. Promise you'll always come back to this. He doesn't answer with words. He just holds me tighter, lets his breath fill the space between us, lets his silence become the vow. I tuck my face into the curve of his neck. He smells like sleep now. Clean skin and linen, and something warm that never leaves his chest, no matter how the world changes around him. Outside, a distant owl calls once. The leaves rustle. The house gives a soft creak beneath the settling weight of night. Do you think, he says quietly, if we never left this bed, the world would wait for us? I smile against his throat. I think it would forget us, and I think we wouldn't mind. He nods. We'd be here, breathing, quiet, whole. The thought soothes something in both of us. Not a fantasy, not an escape, just a stillness we built together. His fingers slow to a gentle trace against my back. My hand rests over his heart, feeling its rhythm, in, out, and just before sleep takes us, I whisper, even when the world is loud, I'll always listen for this. He hums, low and warm. For what? For your breath in the quiet. And he gives it to me. Even in sleep. The morning always comes softly in our house. It seeps in through the curtains in strips of pale light, painting the floor before it touches the bed. It arrives not with alarms or urgency, but with the slow stretching of time, the kind that lets you wake up without being chased by the day. I feel him move before I open my eyes. Chad is always careful in the morning. Thoughtful. He slips out of bed with the same quiet reverence he carries into the room each night. No sharp movements, no sudden noise. Just warmth leaving in layers. First his arm from around me, then the dip in the mattress rising as he stands. I hear him pad across the room, barefoot. He opens the dresser drawer with care, as if the wood might protest. He doesn't turn on the overhead light, he never does. Just the soft glow of the lamp, enough to see the collar of his shirt, the line of his shoulders in silhouette. I don't speak yet, I just listen. I want to remember this part, when he pulls on his jacket and adjusts the cuffs, when he takes his watch from the tray and fastens it with slow fingers, when he pauses for just a moment in front of the mirror, not to check his reflection, but to shift from Chad back into the man the world expects him to be. Even now I know he doesn't rush. That's the miracle of him. Even on the days he has to leave, especially then, he stays present just a little longer than necessary, like he wants to be sure I'll carry his presence with me after he's gone. I stretch under the covers, the sheets still warm from where he lay. My robe is already draped over the foot of the bed. My slippers are lined up neatly near the nightstand. All him. Quiet, consistent love in the form of small things remembered. When I rise, he's in the kitchen, pouring water into the kettle. He hears my steps and turns. "Morning," he says, voice still low with sleep. "Hi," I reply, tying the belt of my robe. "You're already dressed." He nods once, then gestures toward the mugs on the counter. "Your tea's steeping." I step into his arms before he can turn back around. He holds me without hesitation, one hand on my back, the other smoothing over the crown of my head. His chin rests lightly there. We breathe together. "I hate mornings like this," I murmur. "I know, but they're always gentler than I expect." He pulls back just enough to look at me, because we made them that way. He's right. They could have been hard, sharp, full of rushed goodbyes and unsaid things, but we agreed, without ever needing to say it, that partings don't need to be painful to mean something. The kettle whistles softly. He releases me, but not completely. One hand stays against my waist as he pours the water. He hands me my mug like it's precious cargo. We stand there for a while in the kitchen, sipping slowly, letting the warmth sink in. "You don't have to go just yet, do you?" I ask. He shakes his head. "A few more minutes." I lean against the counter. "How bad is today going to be?" His mouth tips up faintly, manageable. That's how he answers when it's something he's already made peace with. I trust that. We move back into the living room without speaking, the mug still in hand. The light is soft here too, dust motes floating in the glow, the curtains drawn halfway open. It's not a sad morning, just quiet. Chad sits on the couch, and I curl beside him the way I always do. One of his arms wraps around my shoulders, my legs tucked up under me, my cheek resting on his chest. We don't talk about the day, we talk about anything else. "The neighbor's cat was on the porch again yesterday," I murmur. He hums. "The orange one?" He was watching the wind chimes again. "I think he's judging us." "He's allowed," Chad says. "He's earned it." I laugh quietly, my hand tracing slow circles over his knee. He sets down his mug and pulls me in a little closer. His breath is steady, measured. "I had a thought last night," he says. I tilt my head to look up at him. "What kind?" "The kind I want to keep." "Then tell me." He brushes my hair behind my ear, fingers lingering at my jaw. "When I leave here each day, I'm not carrying the world. I'm carrying this. You. The softness, the memory of your voice when you talk to the plants, the way the sheets smell like sleep and something sweet. My eyes sting. I don't go out into the world armored anymore," he continues. "I go out full, because of this house, because of you in it. My voice is smaller than I intend. I hope you know you always come back softer too." He looks at me for a long moment. "I leave everything else at the door," he says, "but the love I carry in here, it follows me everywhere." We fall into stillness again, but it's not the absence of words, it's the fullness of everything already said. Eventually, the clock chimes the half hour. Chad exhales slowly. "It's time." I nod, rising with him. At the front door, he slips on his coat and smooths the lapels. His watch glints in the morning light, fastened and firm. His stance shifts almost imperceptibly, shoulders straighter, eyes more focused. But when he turns to me, he softens again. His hand cups my cheek. "You'll be okay today?" he asks. I nod. "I always am." He leans down, pressing a kiss to my forehead, then my lips. It's not rushed, it never is. He always kisses me like it's the last thing he wants to do before letting go, and maybe it is. I love you, he says, voice low. I love you more. He opens the door, pauses for half a breath, then steps out into the world. I watch him walk to the car, watch the way he moves with quiet authority. The man out there isn't mine to follow. He belongs to a world I'll never fully know, but I don't need to. Because the man who walked out this morning, he was mine before the door closed behind him. He's not the Don in this house. He's the man who folds laundry with me, the man who watches me water violets, the man who lays my robe across the bed before I even feel the chill, the man who leaves power at the door, and every night, every single night, he comes back to me,